I think my answer, my real answer would be a lot more interesting. So I can't wait to dive into this topic a little bit more because I actually have a theory about this exact question.
Hi, this is Zap, and welcome to the Resetnzap podcast. Welcome to the Resetnzap podcast. I am your host, the best of all, ZapCristal. And with me is the magnificent,
True.
magical,
Can't argue.
splendid
Absolutely correct.
hubby
Yeah, that would be.
of them all.
Yeah. She's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, what's up? It's your boy TJ.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with another episode for the Resetnzap podcast.
Did you just say we are back?
Yeah.
Don't be trying to steal my lines, bro. Don't be trying to steal my lines, bro. Nah, bro. Especially if you're not going to do it right.
Do it.
We are back
With what?
with a brand new podcast.
Oh, yeah. Your number one podcast for personal success. Because here at the Resetnzap podcast, we talk about all things. Mm-hmm. We talk about life.
Yep.
We talk about gaming.
Yep.
We talk about parenthood.
Yeah.
We talk about work-life balance.
True.
And much more.
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in. And as always, after you listen to this episode, do me a favor and go to any of your favorite platforms where you listen to the podcast and leave your ratings, leave comments, leave reviews on how are we doing. We take these into consideration.
Yes, we do.
Every time we're tweaking the podcast, so it can be entertaining to you guys, but it can also be easy for us. And you ready to dive into what we got going on today?
What we got going on today? Because I have no clue.
I need you to press record. Can you press record? Boop, doop, 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 doop. Today we did a community thread.
Let's go.
And I was busy editing nonstop R&Z videos that if just by coincidence you're watching it, then welcome. I hope you like the new format for season 3.
That's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I like it.
And as I was editing these videos, I just decided to talk with the community and follow up with them with the following question. So I asked them, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self? And I did let them know that these discussions we were having were going to be shared on an episode for our record segment. So pay attention for if your comment is featured.
All right. Sounds good to me.
So let me go ahead and just read one and let's react to it just to see how you feel.
All right, let's do it.
So our good old mod and part of our Zap Squad, 1000 Star,
Squad.
he actually said, the advice I would give to my younger self is this. You are enough. You're doing a great job. Keep going. I am the results of your greatness.
I like that. That. That's pretty, that's pretty straightforward and to the point. And I like that. It's like, hey, keep doing what you're doing. It's going to result in something good in the end. So I could definitely, I'm feeling that one.
What would be something you would say to your younger self? I know there's a lot of stuff we're going to share, but like
stuff that
one
I would
thing.
say to my younger self. Don't eat so much red meat. One thing I would say. Don't worry about certain things, because I tend to worry about a lot of situations that ended up being totally okay after the fact. And don't be afraid to try something new.
Don't worry. Be happy.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh,
Sure, something like that. Sure. Why not?
Don't worry. Be happy. I love that song.
But I'm probably going to save my real answer for once we get into the topic, but I actually have a very interesting take on this subject. So
Okay.
I think my answer, my real answer would be a lot more interesting. So I can't wait to dive into this topic a little bit more because I actually have a theory about this exact question. So
Okay.
we'll dive into that once we get into this thing.
So yeah, I want you to go ahead, start thinking, and think about what type of advice would you give to your younger self? Because that's what we're going to be discussing in our record segment.
Oh, okay.
So if you're ready, like I am, let's hit them with that what?
Pew.
Pew. Press record.
Boop, boop.
I feel so 90s right now.
Yeah.
You know why? Because we have these cups.
Oh yeah, the Flintstone glass, the classic McDonald's Flintstone cups. I remember these growing up as a kid. Like it was really these. I'm glad they brought these back. That's really
Yeah, I'm rocking the original ones.
Yeah, man.
No replicas.
Oh snap!
Original.
Oh yeah, 1950. Oh snap!
Yeah, this one
Okay.
says 1964 from the Flintstones, and then you got the good old Snoopy.
The Snoopy collection.
Because, of course, you gotta love some good old Charlie Brown. But anyhow, that's not what we were gonna be talking about, but I got totally sidetracked.
Yes, you did. Let's get to it. Record.
Let's talk about universal lessons you've learned over the years, which is what led to our community thread on good old Twitter, or now formerly known as X. Moment of silence.
Currently known as X. It's X now. It's not Twitter. There is no Twitter.
Okay, anyways. Rest in peace to our good old Bluebird.
No more Bluebird. Bye bye.
Bye, Bluebird. But anyhow, we were talking about what would be a good piece of advice or any type of advice you would give to your younger self. And we started off strong with Downs and Star, which, as always, thank you so much for participating and just being a part of the podcast community. It's always fun.
Oh yeah, squad.
So let's move on with another one of our members from the Zap Squad. He is Lord O the King.
Okay.
Love me the username.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
His advice to his younger self is don't rush to have kids. Have a strong foundation before you start having a family. This is something I had to learn the hard way. Luckily, I eventually got things figured out, but it was not without a lot of lessons.
Yeah, I can see that. I can understand that. Like being wanting to change the circumstances of how things went, and just to let yourself know that get yourself in order first before you think you can handle this, because it's a big task. It's a big ordeal, and it completely changes your life forever. So it's not a decision that should be taken lightly.
Yeah. I kind of share the same sentiment. Kind of not. I actually share the same sentiment because when I became a mom, it was at a very young age. I had barely turned 18 when I had my first son, which is Jay in the building. And yeah, I've learned a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes down this path of parenthood.
As we all do.
And now that I became a mom for a third time, I feel like I'm actually, in a weird way, enjoying motherhood now more than the first time when I became a mom.
Yeah.
And I guess that makes sense because the older you get, the more you mature, the more you've experienced life. I'm in a phase where I'm much more stable in my life, much more grounded. I know what I want.
Yeah.
It's not like back in the day when I was 18. I was starting life. I was trying to figure things out. I dived into this huge task to become a mom.
And you thought you was grown.
I thought I was a grown girl. Little did I know I was not.
No.
But now I have the benefit that, when they see me, they're like, "Is that your kid? You look so young." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take that as a compliment."
Yes, I am beautiful. Thank you.
I get that a lot. You don't look like you got a 15-year-old.
Well, I do.
But I do. He's right here for the past 15 years. But yeah, I totally get it. I agree with him. If I had the opportunity again, the only thing I would have done differently is I would probably have waited
Yeah.
a little bit longer to have kids.
And honestly, I'm on the other side of that because I'm glad I actually waited to have kids.
Yeah.
Because this is my first child, and I'm 40 years old now. So I definitely waited.
Yes.
To have my kid. And I think that was a good decision because now I've had more life experience and I understand a lot more about things. And so I'm able to kind of step into that role a lot easier. So I can definitely see why somebody would think it's definitely better to wait to have kids, because I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I did it because not only am I more mature, but I actually, chose the correct partner, because sometimes you have a kid and you love your kid, but sometimes you don't necessarily have it with the person that you would want to have that child with. So because I waited and took my time, I was able to have a child with the partner of my dreams and somebody that I actually want to spend the rest of my life with, so we can raise that child together. So I can, from that aspect, I can definitely agree with what he's saying, because you're going to want to make sure you have that kid with the right partner, somebody that you can actually parent with together. So
we have to move on.
yeah, I'm just saying, like, just
because this is going to turn into a stop, because I'm going to rant about this.
It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We live in a real world. This is a real world that we live in. And sometimes, even though we love our children, sometimes we don't have those children with the right partner.
Yeah.
And then you end up having to raise that child by yourself, or you don't get any real help, or the other parent is a bad influence, or whatever the case may be. So I say it's good to wait just to make sure that you pick the right partner.
Yes.
Like we've had this discussion before. I was like, I want to make sure that the person I have a child with is going to be a good mother.
Which should be the way we think.
So that's why I never was in a rush to have no kid, because I didn't find somebody that I think would be a good mother to my child. And now that I have, and I've waited, and I've had the life experience, and I understand things, now I feel like I can be the parent that I need to be, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Ooh. Yeah, we need to leave it at that, because if not, this podcast is gonna be an hour long, just about this, just this small little bit. Now, move on. Lord Shabalba. Good old Shabalba. He said, I would encourage myself to pursue financial literacy much sooner in life to avoid pitfalls I had to learn the hard way. I would have still pursued college, but do it in a much cheaper way.
Facts. Agreed.
This is something that we started, at least I started learning now as an adult. And I wish and completely agree with Lord Shabalba. I wish this would be included as part of your standard curriculum at school. Like in schools, why don't we offer a better course? Because people will be like, well, that's already existing. But is it actually good? Like a life skill class.
I never took a financial literacy. Like I can't think of a time I took a finance class in school or anything.
I feel like it has to be taught. With how much math we're taught at school, like how come we're not taught on how to write a check, how to use a credit card, how to file taxes? Like, explain all these things to your kids at an early age, so when they become adults, they're not just thrown out there to the world trying to figure these things out. Because like I said, I learned it late.
Yeah, I agree. I learned it a little bit earlier, but still later than I should have. And that was just because I took it upon myself to just be like, look, I need to learn how this stuff works. I need to learn how credit works, and I need to learn how credit cards operate and how bank accounts work. Like, because if you don't take it upon yourself, like I said, I don't think I ever took a class like that in school, so I never would have learned anything like that. So I definitely agree that there should be some kind of class for that, but since there isn't, I think it's important for us as people to take it upon ourselves to figure that out, to learn these things, because it's knowledge that if I would have gained that knowledge sooner, I'd probably be in a much better place financially. So like, now I'm getting to the point now where I'm understanding all these things and doing all these things and making all these changes so we can, live the life that we live now. Yeah. But in the beginning, I had to run into a bunch of brick walls and understand that this and this and that before I really got the knowledge. So I'm glad that I did take it upon myself eventually to learn and understand these things, but it's definitely something that should be taught at a younger age, and either the schools have to do it or as parents we have to do it, but it definitely needs to happen much earlier in life.
Yeah. Typically I would say that this responsibility would fall onto parents, but then like myself, if you're not well educated in financial literacy, like how are you going to teach your kids?
Can't teach what you don't know.
So yeah, educating yourself, I guess, first, so that way you can educate your children in such an important topic as this is, because if not, or, learn it at least from someone, take the course, because sometimes, I hate to say it, love you, Mom, but, some of our parents are not really good when it comes to financial discussions. And if you don't have a good example, then you have to kind of look for that example elsewhere.
I totally understand that, because I was lucky that, even though early in my mom's life, she wasn't maybe not the most financially literate person, but later on she decided to open her own business. And I think through that, she learned a lot of, how to run a business and what the finances look like and how to pay employees. So I think later on she became much more knowledgeable, and she did pass a lot of that knowledge on to me. So I definitely appreciate my mother for that part of it. But it's just, I don't think she fully understood like how credit and all that kind of stuff works, because that's not something we're really taught.
No.
So I'm glad that I took it upon myself to take some courses online and do some reading and try to understand.
We're still learning.
Still learning, because it always changes too. That's the thing. Like something that may have been true 20 years ago ain't true now. And me being 40, you know what I'm saying? Like I've seen a lot of things come and go and change.
Yeah.
Through my lifetime. So it's like it's a process that never really ends.
Speaking of college, I'm going to tie this along with VG Mobster, because he also had something to say. And he said that he wished that he would have been more open-minded to trade schools. And this goes along nicely with what Lord Shababa had mentioned earlier about still being able to pursue college, but in a cheaper way.
Yeah.
Because trade schools used to get a bad rep back in the day. So, now it's different.
Yeah, but I don't really think it's like that anymore, because more people are starting to understand that college isn't the end all be all. And respect to anybody who goes to college to pursue their dreams and blah blah blah. That's fine. But what I will say is that it's not for everybody.
No.
Not everybody is meant to go to college and be a doctor and be a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Some people are meant to be plumbers. Some people are meant to be carpenters. Whatever the case may be. So don't look down on something that you enjoy. You know what I'm saying? If it's something that you enjoy doing, then I think that is what you should pursue. Because if you don't enjoy your work, then you're not going to be there very long.
Yeah.
So for me, I always thought that there's always alternative opportunities out there. Like for me, even though I did go to school, I didn't necessarily graduate. But the skills that I learned there, I was able to apply that and be able to become, a computer engineer. So people think, to be a computer engineer, you got to go to college, you got to get this degree, you got to do that. It's not necessarily true. If you have the skills and if you're willing to learn, and somebody out there will take a chance on you and give you an opportunity. And since then, I've been working in IT for about almost 15 years now. So college isn't the end all be all. Trade schools are perfectly fine. In some cases, a trade school might even be better because, like you said, it's going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
So I don't want to knock anybody who goes to college.
Colleges.
Yeah.
That's another option.
I don't want to knock anybody who does college or anything like that, but I want people to understand that there's more than just college. College isn't the end all be all. And just because you go to college doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be filthy rich or nothing like that.
Yeah.
So you got to be wise about what you want to do with your life, what's going to pay well, what's going to offer you the benefits that you need, and what's going to make you happy. Because at the end of the day, if you're not happy with your work, you're going to walk away from it.
Actually, sorry to interrupt you, but I feel like this is perfect, a perfect shout out for this episode, and is shout out to Roberto Blake, because he actually has been talking about this non-stop this past week, about how it's important for men to learn and have secured within their toolkit a good set of skills that can generate income and wealth for their families beyond just the traditional way of going to college, pursuing a degree, and working. Like, you have to learn at least one high earning type of skill.
Facts.
So yeah.
And for me, that was computers. I found that I had a knack for computers at an early age. And I was always interested in technology, and IT is one of the highest earning fields out there because technology keeps growing and advancing. So as long as that continues, people like me will always be needed. So for me, that's what that was. And like I said, I didn't even go to school for computers. I actually went to school for law. And I found, just like I was talking about earlier,
you're still pretty good at.
I found that, in the field of law wasn't necessarily my passion. So I found myself not doing well in those classes and I ended up walking away from it, like I was just saying before. So if you don't have that passion for it in your heart, the money is not going to matter if you're not there. If you don't love it, don't enjoy it, eventually you're going to get tired of it and walk away.
Yeah.
So you might as well pick something that you're going to love, that's going to pay you what you need, and that's going to provide you with the benefits that you need to support yourself and or your family.
Yeah, to keep this short, because I feel like this is a topic that you can dedicate a whole episode.
Yeah, I can definitely see a part 2 of this coming.
Yeah, but just to keep it nice and short and sweet, we actually been going through this with our son, because Lord Jesus, in a couple of years, he's going to have to decide if he's going to college or not. And he's already stated that he's not interested in pursuing college because he wants to start his own business as an entrepreneur. So, having to dive into what are the options he has, having to find resources, buy books for him. Like we said earlier, it's teaching him, about financial literacy, understanding all those things, and then kind of easing the headaches that we've had to deal with, late, because we didn't have nobody to teach us these things.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, because one of the things I mentioned to you is the options nowadays, because we mentioned community colleges and trade schools, but let's talk about online courses, which I've experienced myself recently, and so many other options. Like you said, you're self-taught. A lot of my best skills that I've learned over the course of the years has been skills that I self-taught myself, like perfect example, video editing, filmmaking, doing my whole YouTube channel.
Podcasting,
yeah. Social marketing, is a skill that nobody taught me. I had to learn all these things. So it's incredible how sometimes some of your best skills are not necessarily the ones you went to college for, but that you self-taught yourself, because like you said, if you have the passion, you're going to make sure that you're well equipped for it. So
yeah, that's just like me and my music. I learned how to produce, mix, master. Nobody taught me any of these skills. These are things that because I love music so much, I have a passion and a drive to learn more and to get better and to improve. And that's what's going to drive you in, what you do. And I also love technology. So that's what drives me to continue to learn and continue to grow and acquire new skills and abilities. So if you have that passion behind it, it'll make you learn, even if you don't go to school for it necessarily. And like I said, somebody out there will give you an opportunity if they see that you're really trying to, develop your skill set.
yeah. Oh, guys, put this discussion on pause, because I'm really feeling like this is gonna turn into an episode part 2, because I am so interested in diving more into education, especially me, because I have a background where I've taught already, and I've done homeschool, and I've homeschooled my own children. So this is a whole discussion I can just dive into for another day. But anyhow,
Let's move forward.
little bro, Kitetsu
Tokai.
actually said the following. He said, take more chances and not worry too much about what to come.
I can feel that.
Or let me read that again, but it's the same thing. I did. Take more chances and not worry too much about the outcome, is how he said it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely feel that. I can see why he would say that. I know I love my bro, so I know him very well. Yeah, I agree, because it's kind of weird for me to talk about this, because it's like that's kind of how I lived my whole life. And I think I might have lived it too far to that extreme. I think there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a balance of both, because I am what some people may call reckless sometimes. Yeah. Like I'll just kind of jump out the window. I'm like, hey, let's just do it. Let's just go forward, see what happens, and try it, figure it out. We'll figure it out when we get there, kind of thing. So even though I do understand where he's coming from, you don't want to be too far on either end. You want to have a nice balance of, all right, let me think this through. And also, hey, there's some moments where you got to be like, look, I got to act now. Yeah. So you got to have a good balance of that. But I definitely understand where he's coming from. I would say my problem is the opposite. I need to learn how to slow down sometimes and be like, all right, maybe I should think this through a little bit more before I do it, instead of just doing stuff and trying to figure it out later. But I definitely understand where he's coming from. So I can feel that. I feel that.
Yeah. I think I've learned that late now as an adult, that until very recently, a couple of years ago, thanks to you, actually.
Yeah. When I said my balance, what I meant was you, actually. Because you are my balance. You're the one to be like, hey, babe, why don't you take 2 seconds and just, okay.
Think it through.
Think it.
Yeah.
There you
Sit
go.
down, slow
there
down.
you go. So
because I'm very meticulous. I'm very detail oriented, and you're just a go getter. Like,
let's go.
Let's just go.
Yeah.
Why are we overthinking this?
I was actually talking to our son about this the other day. I said, stop talking and start doing.
Yes.
Instead of talk, you do a lot of talking, a lot of thinking about it. Like, all right, you've thought enough.
Ooh.
It's time to move now.
I can't wait when we start sharing our things. Like, what are the universal lessons we've learned? Because I got a lot to say. For
like I said, my take
is
is going to be very, very interesting for this question specifically. So I kind of have two different answers. But
okay.
We'll get there.
People started diving into this. Like, this got real serious pretty quickly because
I seen some of the responses. I was reading some of the responses to this online.
Action Jack, which is, of course, hold up. We got a call. We got a call right now. Yeah. Hello? You know, he really doesn't want to talk to you because you keep interrupting him in the middle of the podcast.
Tell him I'm not here.
I'll see what I can do. Hold on.
Tell him I'm not here.
Babe, you have to.
I'm not here.
But he wants to know about the new member.
Well, just tell him about the...
Okay. Hold on. I got you. You just take it easy. Okay. All right. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, boy. What did I get myself into?
Okay, here we go. All right, so you know, Mr. Action Jack, the lyrical assassin, has signed up to be a full-time MSM member. That's right. MSM has started a new artist, and be prepared and look forward to future projects from him and features all over the place. And if you want more information about that, you should go to masterswordmusic.com. You can join that email list and catch emails about everything that's going on at Master Sword Music. You can also go to ZapCristal.com to find out about all things ZapCristal. See what she's doing, when she's streaming, when the podcast is dropping, when videos is dropping. And you could get an email from her every single week if you join that email list.
Oh, yeah.
So I would suggest that you go to ZapCristal.com for all things ZapCristal. Peace.
Smooth. Okay.
But yeah.
That was smooth.
But yeah, shout out to Action Jack, the newest member of Master Sword Music.
And Action Jack had quite a bit to say, because he actually was referencing Roberto in a way with what I mentioned earlier about learning some skills. Because he said, for me, it would be to focus on adding certain skill sets, such as, in his case, gardening and car mechanics. Well, I know a little now. I can only imagine where my knowledge and execution would be if I started in my teenage years when my grandfather was alive and he knew both of these things. So I like to call those your legacy skills, because somebody in your family had to have done it. And it's very fascinating that he brought this up, because I can say, thank God, right, that for me, family has always been key. And when my grandma was still alive, rest in peace now, I wanted to make sure that somebody in the family would have learned her set of skills, which is crocheting. And I was lucky enough to have my grandma teach me crochet. And sewing, I can't really say somebody taught me this. I know a lot of my aunties used to do it, but that was more of a skill that I self-taught myself. But as of somebody teaching you, grandma was the one who taught me how to crochet. And thanks to her, you know, I've been able to continue creating. And it's been a skill that I say that if I'm not editing, like, you know, I gotta always create.
Yeah.
So crocheting has really helped me do that. So yeah.
Cool. Actually, for me, oddly enough, my legacy skill would be music.
Oh, okay.
Actually, because everybody in my family did music. Like
True. You said your mom.
Yeah, my mom.
Was a singer.
My mom's a singer. My aunt was a keyboard player. My uncles played the guitar or sung. So like music has been a part of my family since way, way, way back. My grandma sings. My granddaddy sings. Like everybody either sung or played some kind of instrument. So like music is just something that naturally passed down to me. So like I've been doing music since I was probably like 2 or 3 years old, growing up in my grandfather's church. So like music is actually the legacy skill that I've picked up over time, because that was pretty big in my family.
You know what I found interesting? That Action Jack actually said that his aunts taught him and learned. Well, no, sorry, I'll take that back. His aunts learned early along with sewing, which is another skill he actually would have loved to learn.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Yeah, which I mean, you know, just it's never too late.
No, it's never too late. It's never too late to start, my man. If you really want to learn, you can do it, my guy. So I say push forward and go for it, man. Why not?
And going back to trade schools, VG Mobster had to share a little bit more of this because he's one that feels like he could have benefited from going to a trade school. And he said it's definitely smart to explore the opportunities because most of them are way better off in the long run, referring to teenagers. And he said, I like my career, but I should have been more open to trade school opportunities right out of college.
Yeah, I could totally understand that. And I definitely understand that mindset. It's like with trade schools, that's something you could pick up a skill and you can immediately get out there and start doing your thing. So I could totally understand why some people might feel that way, because college is a huge investment. If you're really not, prepared for what that entails, then it could, hinder your progress a little bit. And with trade schools, it's kind of like, all right, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm studying. This is what I'm learning. You're not learning all this extra stuff that you might not necessarily need. And you're just focused on the thing that you're going to be doing. So
yeah,
I could totally understand that.
Yeah, it's he was referring to his daughters, and also I was talking about our son, and that's where we started expanding on the idea of trade schools. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think VG Mobster is a graphic designer.
Yes, that's correct.
He says he likes it, but he wish he would have explored other opportunities out there.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, which I say once again, it's never too late, because in my case, I did finish college thanks to somebody from my college that forced me to finish. I promise you, there's gonna be a part 2, and I'm going to share this story because it's.
Yeah, we should have a college episode. We could both talk about our college
experiences.
That'd be a dope episode.
That would be, and especially from you, because my scope when it comes to college is very limited. Because I did it after I had kids, but you were still, in those years.
And I was young too, because I graduated high school a little early.
Oh.
So when I first started college, I was still 17.
Oh wow. Yeah, we got to do a part 2. That would be fun. That would be fun to talk about college. Yeah. But anyways, long story short, taste and interests change over time, and as you evolve as a human being, some things that you enjoyed in the past are not things necessarily that you enjoy now doing. And I decided recently, not too long ago, that I needed to do a career change. And so I decided to dive in, thanks to you, to online courses to pursue this new career that I'm definitely excited for. And we need to have a part 2 that way I can talk about this. Okay, so let's start with you. Okay, let's just dive right into it. If you can give to your younger self any type of advice, what would it be?
All right, so my answer for this is going to be interesting, because I have a different perspective of this question.
Okay.
From the question, like, I understand what the question is trying to say, but from the specific question that you asked and the way that it was asked, I would not tell myself anything.
Oh.
And there's a reason for that.
Okay.
Because if I were to tell my younger self to do something different, that means the events that occurred in my life would change.
Ooh.
And I wouldn't be where I am now.
Okay. I see where this is going.
So even though not everything was great and I've had some hardships and I've been through some things, those things actually grew me and developed me into the person that I am now. And because I am the person I am now, I'm able to be where I am now and be with who I'm with and have the child that I have. And I wouldn't want me trying to give myself a little boost to completely change the events of my life. Because I actually love where my life is now, and I wouldn't want it to be any different than what it is now. Now, people go say that's kind of a cop-out. You're not going to take it. I understand the point of the question.
Yeah.
The point of the question really is, what can you look back on your life and be like, I wish I would have done that differently? Or what you look back on your past and basically say, what could I have done differently, or what should I have done differently? And to answer that in a more generic sense, I would tell myself to take more time before making major decisions.
Okay, yeah.
Because I tended to kind of act out of emotion and just kind of like, all right, something happens and I instantly make a decision and instantly respond back. I wish I would have, which is what I do now, take more time to come up with a plan and develop something and really think things through before I just jump to a conclusion or jump to a decision. So that would be the thing that I would tell myself is slow down when you're making decisions and really think about how it's going to affect your future. Because when I was younger, I was always thinking in the moment, in the right now, and not thinking about how the decisions I made would affect me years down the road. So that would be the thing that I would tell myself. It's like, hey, just take your time.
It's so hard to concentrate, guys, and listen to this man talk. Because first of all, I'm biased, it's my husband. But two, I got this song stuck in my head playing every single moment as you talk. And I think I could talk about it now because this album probably is already out. But, you know, the song I recorded a video for, the hold up, wait a minute, hold up. TJ about to kill it, slow down. That's all I kept hearing. I'm like, God, let me just pay attention because
by the time this video drops, time this audio drops, I might be out. So yeah, go out and get The Legend of TJ: Return of the Hero.
Yeah, it probably is gonna. Yeah. So
either it is out or it's about to come out, but
and if it is about to come out, then spoiler alert. That's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, you get a sneak peek.
Yeah, there you go. I'm your biggest fan. But wow. I guess let's hit them with that Pum.
The Pum?
Yeah, and let's leave mine for Chef Kiss.
Okay.
Pum. Chef Kiss, baby. Drop it. Yeah.
Right there.
And then
That's too much.
it's your favorite segment.
It is.
I just wanted to honor it.
It is my favorite segment. I will give you that. That music is kind of bopping right now.
Yeah, of course it is. In post-production. But yeah, guys, we're going to talk about, which is where the discussion for the community thread came from. And it's more so about universal lessons that I've learned over the years. Because like you said, some things you just kind of don't want to change them at all. Yeah. And at the same time, we're going to be also spreading out the word, sharing some tips and learning on how to love yourself. Because, sometimes we want to take care of ourselves by preventing ourselves from pitfalls, like Lord Shababa said, or, not making ever mistakes in life. But how are you going to learn and turn into the person you're meant to be? If you don't learn from your mistakes.
Okay.
So I found this picture, and it was talking about how to take one step at a time. And they were sharing, financial literacy, which this can translate to so many other stuff. But they were saying how some small habits can turn into great things. Like, for example, let's say you decide you're going to save $8 per day, right? That is the equivalent of $3,000 per year.
Okay.
By just saving $8 every day. Or reading 20 pages per day, equal to you reading 30 books for the entire year.
Okay.
And then they kept going even deeper, like walking 10,000 steps per day, equal to 70 marathons per year.
Damn.
And the end goal of this picture was to never underestimate the power of small habits.
Agreed. 100%. I definitely feel that because that's kind of been the motto of how I've run like my YouTube channel and stuff. It's like I'm all right, what's the next thing? Let's slowly build towards that. All right, so this is what we want. So the way I look at it is, all right, there's the bigger picture. Like the big picture is where I want to be or what I'm trying to create or whatever the case may be. And then the small part is, all right, what steps does it take to get there? So like when I start a project, the first thing I think of is, all right, what do I want this project to be about? What do I want it to be called? What does the album cover look like? And you just take each day, you take a small step towards that goal of building up that project until eventually it's there. Because if you try to look at the whole picture of having a 20 track album, you're like, oh man, this is a lot of work to
You're
look
gonna
at.
end up overwhelmed.
Yeah, but if you look at it one piece at a time, you slowly build up, and eventually you ended up with that project. So that's kind of been the way I work in general. Just like, all right, this is the goal I'm trying to attain. What steps does it take to get there? And I just do it one step at a time. Like, all right, to start this project off, I need a name. All right, so let's come up with a name. All right, I need an album cover. All right, let's come up with that. And each step gets you a little bit closer to your goal. And as long as, like, this is like my motto I've said a million times, but as long as even if you're only taking one step forward, you're still moving forward.
Yeah, you've mentioned that to
Yeah,
me.
it's like if long as you're making some kind of progress, you're getting closer to your goal. You may not be as close as you want to be, but you're closer than you were the day before. So as long as you could be like, all right, I'm closer to my goal today than I was yesterday, then you've made progress, and that's something to be proud of. Because if you keep doing that, eventually you'll end up at your goal.
Interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that quite a bit. I actually made a video not too long ago where I wanted to like share, because you always get that asked a lot. Typically by the time you guys are listening to this episode, we're pretty much wrapping up the year and starting a whole new year. And we've been talking about like, what is, how we adopt the big word, what's the word for next year? We've talked about 1 year was reset, which actually was when the podcast was created. The next following year, which was this year, right? We talked about it was growth.
Yep, growth.
And then what's the word we said for next year?
Oh, did we come up with one for this
Did
year?
we come up with one? I don't know. I think it was, I can't even recall. Actually, we haven't even come up with a
I don't
word.
think we have yet. I think, but from what I predict will happen next year, the word I'm looking at is completion.
For you? That's what you're sensing the next year is going to be for
It's
you?
a year of completion.
Gotcha.
A lot of things that's been hanging out in the waters, that's been waiting to be completed. I feel like a lot of people are going to reach their goals next year. It's going to be the year of completion.
Nice.
That is my
That's powerful.
psychic mind powers telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah, next year is the year of completion, and I'm definitely looking forward to what's going to happen in 2025.
So for me, I made this video because I had this spark of inspiration, creativity, let's say. And I was like, boom, I finally found out what I'm trying to do in my space as of innovating, and what type of message am I bringing to my community now, in 2025 and so on. And this is the advice that not only I've learned over the years, but it would be things that I would say to my younger self. Because if you thought I was not going to reveal my answer, guess what? I am. And so I wrote this small little article, and I wrote it more so for myself too. It's like a, what do you call it? Your time capsule. So if you go back, you can read it.
Yeah, time
Actually,
capsule. That works.
I will say this is exactly what it is. And I got this partially from Animal Crossing, because I don't know if you've ever done this, but when you go to the airport, you know how you can
Send yourself a letter in the future.
Have you seen that?
I haven't done it yet, but I've seen that feature.
You can send a letter, like to, I guess, to your future self. And you can write anything you want on it. You can even like attach a gift or money, whatever, to the letter. And then a year later, you get that letter. And you might not even remember what you even wrote in this letter, but when you read it, it shares some significance, for yourself, because you're like, well, wow, I didn't, like, that's who I was a year ago, compared to now. So I'm just gonna read it out loud and see what you think about what I wrote. And so I said, people have asked what are my plans moving onwards, and I've decided to give it some thought, and here is what I have learned.
Okay.
Number one, that I don't have to have it all figured out at once, but be patient enough to know that every great idea takes time to develop.
Facts.
Number two, that by being more myself, I can relate more to my community and showcase how we can be creatives, but still be grounded enough to balance work life. Number 3, to lead by example and not conform to trends that are not realistic, nor do they align to my philosophy about life, you know. The following I wrote is to love myself more in a way that I can understand that the only thing that doesn't change is change.
Okay.
But most importantly, that I am free to create whatever I want, whenever I want, and however way I see fit. And I wrote to myself, I said, our communities deserve more transparency from the creators they enjoy and support. So I strive in focusing more on that rather than in numbers. And I can't wait to share this starting now.
I like that.
So yeah, this would be advice I would give to my younger self.
I like that.
I've been listening to several women that I am so glad I've kind of bumped into them. I don't know. I guess YouTube recommended them to me. And there are these women of God that are just happen to be also creators. And I listened to something again last night because I had watched this video already from this one creator, but when she said it again, it just kind of hit differently. And she was saying how sometimes you pray always for clarity, but sometimes you already have clarity. Like you already know what you have to do. So instead of praying for clarity, pray for courage to get it done and to just do it. And I think that if I were to give myself another piece of advice to my younger self, it would be that, because I am guilty of self-sabotaging myself, of overthinking something so much and just kind of scared of taking that first step and just doing it when I should just do it.
Just do it, man.
Just do it. I mean, worst case scenario is you tried and it didn't work, but at least you can say you tried.
And you can also take what you learned to do better the next time.
Oh, yes. Actually, yesterday I shared a picture on my X, and it was about how it's never a waste of time to do something you love. Mm-hmm. It's never a waste of time.
Never.
You always learn something from it. And I think that's what you know what? I'm so glad we're talking about this today. That is the word for me next year. Courage.
I like that.
I want to have the courage. I want to be courageous enough to do what I have to do, to not overthink it. But I also want to pray to God, not for, the resources I need, but to be able to see the opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see opportunities where I can create, where I can thrive, where I can build a business, where I can help, financially, where we can grow. Ain't nothing wrong with aspiring to grow, but I also pray that I don't get in the way of my husband being the leader of the household, letting him be able to lead the family in the household. Because sometimes us women, let's face it, sometimes we want to be too helpful. And by being helpful, I mean not helpful at all. So, sometimes we got to learn how to sit back and chill. This is a whole topic. I don't know where I'm going with this, but this is for
we're gonna have another episode talk about this.
This is for a different episode.
I like that. That's a conversation we need to have. I like that.
But sometimes we women need to know how to chill. Sit down, let your man lead. Well, how did I end up talking about this?
As long as he's a good man.
As long as he's a good man. But yeah. How did I end up here? I don't know.
I think you're making me change my word now. Because since you use courage, I'm going to say next year is the year of the Triforce.
The Triforce?
The Triforce.
Okay.
Power.
Wisdom.
Courage.
I learned that recently. I'm so proud of myself.
Next year, that is my statement. Next year is the year of the Triforce.
Okay.
Power, wisdom, courage.
All right, guys. So there you have it. Those are our universal lessons that we've learned over the years, advice that we would give to our younger selves. Now I want to hear from you. So drop in the comments, engage with us. If you're watching the video, let me know right now. Hey, Zap, you missed something. There's something left out of the episode. I want to add to this. I want to be part of this discussion because that's what the community is all about. Us engaging together in these discussions. Let's have some real talks.
Let's talk about it.
And I appreciate each and every one of y'all for rating the show, reviewing it. I thank my husband for being an amazing co-host. I feel like he adds to the podcast. He adds that sazon, much needed.
I'm just chilling.
Yeah, we just chilling like two villains. But it's been exciting to see what season 3 has turned into, and I cannot wait to close season 3 and then brainstorm season 4, because I already know season 4 is going to be
lit.
Amazing. So as always, I want to remind you to always reset and what?
And zap.
For the what?
For the week.
For the week. Peace.
Pew.
So funny. My computer just shut down right now.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, he's like, oh, we're done?
So
I can take a break.